Dr. Matthew Loop with us. We have Dr. Matthew Loop with us today. He was one of our keynote speakers at our original Shockwave Business Academy. I have a little picture of us out in our, isn't that the best bar on the lake there, Matthew?
Oh man, it's gorgeous.
That's where we had the first two Shockwave Business Academies. And, Dr. Loop has helped hundreds, if not thousands, of other healthcare providers. Tonight, you're going to learn how to rank at the top of ChatGPT. Um, I love his quote, hottest thing online, and it's like printing money right now. So, he helped me. We were in that picture. He helped me optimize this video I did with Dr. Sebastian Bone and got, I believe, hundreds of thousands of views and then helped me boost it. Very excited. Again, you know, one of the things we're going to talk about tonight is Google's market share is slipping. Dr. Loop, he looks at the trends. He's very good with what's happening. Um, and in fact, he's going to quote this Pew Research study that dropped, and they had a whopping 345 or 334% of US adults have used ChatGPT at some point, and it's going to be a massive disruption and a huge gold rush and an opportunity to benefit. So this is a QR code. If you guys have questions, going to add a second device, it would be wonderful to jump on a call with me. In the meantime, I'm going to hand it over to our guest, Dr. Matthew Loop. Matthew, go
Thanks,
ahead.
brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's great to be here. Always have a great time when we're together, and you're very generous with your time and your community. So I thank you and trying to deliver some value this evening and really share some ideas, concepts that are going to help the docs grow, but really think in a new light. We're going to talk a lot about AI this evening, profit and growth strategies for Kairos. I'm going to give you tools, strategies, resources, and we're going to talk a little bit about ranking number one on this particular platform without spending any money on ads. Now, I come from the social media world where for sure there's a time and place that we invest to build our brand practices, bring in new patients, but there's just some massive disruption happening. So can everyone see my screen okay? We good for that? Yeah, perfect. All right, cool. So understanding AI, profit and growth strategies for Kairos, and let's dig in. Now, my name's Dr. Matthew Loop, a best-selling author of Social Media Made Me Rich. If you're not familiar, I've been helping docs for a very, very long time. Initially, it started with social media. Way back in the MySpace days, 2005, 2006, I got really good at those platforms, and no one knew certainly what that would become in today's time. And just right place at the right time. Have helped over 8,500 chiropractors actually as clients, and then many other business owners, help them generate floods of new patients, 20 to 50 plus every month using social media. With that, I've coached people like yourself how to create multiple five-figure per month income streams from the internet on top of their practices using stuff like affiliate marketing, buying businesses, selling online courses, software, Amazon selling, coaching, consulting, launching books, membership sites. I've sold millions of dollars with all of these, and I've taught docs a set of skills that pay over and over again for life. And I host a practice growth seminar each August called our Social Media Revenue Summit. Porsche Experience Centers, where that's typically held. Dr. Matt and Softwave have been very generous sponsors in the past because they know we bring top quality doctors in our rooms and vice versa. I love making great introductions to companies like this that you guys help a lot of people and take care of my clients. But most recently in the last 6 months, I've trained over 250 docs specifically how to rank at the top of ChatGPT local search in order to attract more patients without spending any money on ads. And Matt, you've actually messaged me before. I was just in Austria over this last week with my wife on our 17th anniversary, and we've done Swiss Alps business adventures where we'll take docs to, it's like, hey, come on out, no formal agenda, let's have some fun, we'll talk business, strategize, and I'll take you to some amazing bucket list places that we'd love to go over there. So be on the lookout if we do another one of those. It's just a fun, amazing event. I've had the privilege of also speaking on a lot of stages inside the profession and outside the profession, trained again thousands of doctors. Most recently, had a speaking gig at MIT, Harvard Club of Boston, been featured all over the media. And I say this so you don't know that if you don't know who I am, I'm not a Johnny come lately. I've been doing this a very long time, been cited by different sources, and my book's gotten in a lot of places. And with social media in particular, it's gotten me in open doors that otherwise I would have never had open. That's why I'm so passionate about the internet and social, and of course now AI. Having to interview specific people like Dr. Oz, getting to meet, an amazing man, hero throughout the pandemic, Dr. Peter McCullough, Kramer from Seinfeld, and having, lunch, dinner on Sir Richard Branson's private island, him dressed up pirate costume serving me lamb tandoori, just wild experiences, right? That I never thought would happen. And these are because of how I've used and leveraged social media and how I teach docs how to do the same thing. But like Matt said, I'm always trying to be on the trend and the cutting edge because things happen really quick. I just happen to be dialed into a very powerful network. And myself, I'm always looking at what's producing in the clinics that I'm currently working with. We're split testing different strategies. When I see something that's actually proven results, I really want to roll that out and make sure you get on it while the getting's good, because all good things eventually come to an end. I certainly don't think AI is coming to an end at all, but there's always a window of opportunity, and realize early adopters always win. So let's really dig into the AI component initially here. There are four primary uses of these artificial intelligence, which is, by the way, in its infancy anyway. I want to simplify this. I don't want you to get overwhelmed, because once you start to get into this, it's just like social media. You could learn and research till the cows come home without executing anything, and that's not what we want. And so the first way that I like to use AI in particular is for idea generation. This is where it helps save docs a lot of time, energy, and effort, because it used to be really, you'd have to take a decent amount of time to figure out what to post online social media wise, or blog post or video scripting. But now we can just hammer this stuff out in, who knows, like a minute as opposed to 15 minutes or an hour before. So the idea generation saves us a lot of time. Frameworks in particular, whether that is some type of a formula, calendars, video scripting, as I mentioned, things like that. I mean, we can really get very dialed in a very short amount of time. You can synthesize data and research relatively fast, much faster than we could before. And then automations, and this is big. Automations can create more profitability within your practice, and they can also lead to much greater efficiency. So this is the four main areas that you want to have this dialed in for your practice. Most of you are likely familiar with ChatGPT, which is the most popular LLM, language learning model, AI engine, whatever you want to call it. And there's many out there, but if you're going to pick one, we're going to start with this particular aspect, just again to simplify things. This is how the interface looks right now, and it simplifies so many actions, and you can do in seconds what would normally take days or hours or weeks to complete. And you could even potentially replace a lot of marketing and advertising if you do it right. So we'll discuss some questions and commands. I'll give you some ideas of what to input as prompts. And I will say this too, just like that old saying, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of questions that you ask. The the quality of the output is determined by the quality of the prompt. So you could give it a very general prompt, and you might get some decent blog posts or videos or ideas, but the more dialed in and specific you can be, it takes it to a whole different level. Now, the Chat GPT you're going to want to get is the $20 per month version. If you don't have it, you need to pay for it. There's a big reason why, aside from just getting the enhanced features and down to the second brain power of Chat GPT, this AI. But the other factor is when it comes to ranking your practice online at the very top of Chat GPT, you got to start training the AI and feeding it stuff that it might not know. We can't assume Chat GPT just pulls everything from the internet at all times, because it really doesn't. And I've double checked certain things, but I want to make it known and understand that I feed certain, like, it needs to know that I'm an authority, and there's going to be certain external triggers that will um, uh, tell you that tell it that you are an authority, but sometimes you need to double check certain things. That's what I'm saying essentially. I had to do this a couple weeks ago. It didn't find some features and research that I had or publications. So you get the paid version. Long story short, bottom line. Um, Google Gemini is free. You can use that sometimes. Just another tool. Claude, Manus, Jasper, 49 a month, but stick with ChatGPT. Now, here are some productivity tools. You can take a photo of this if you want and just screenshot it on your computer. I'll just briefly highlight a couple of these to make it. And, maybe this is going to be recorded anyway, so you could stop it and just see whatever we're looking for, whether it's the chatbot, presentation, coding assistance, email assistance. There are many, many, many tools that we can use. For example, let's say you do a lot of PowerPoint presentations, but you're looking to fast track and automate much of that to condense it. Gamma is a great tool to do that, or Tomy is a great tool to do that. Um, or let's say you actually want to you have an idea to code something. Nowadays, unfortunately, software developers they're on borrowed time. But if you find something, a tool that you like for your practice, and you don't want to spend thousands of dollars every month or whatever it is, you could potentially code it yourself and save a lot of money that way. Email assistants, there are just like Mail Maestro is a very popular one to automate a lot of the junk email to save you time in your inbox. Image generation, DAL-E2 combined with ChatGPT, meeting notes that basically, for example, will transcribe the high points of this meeting, things like that. Scheduling, video generation. There's just so many things like video auditing. There's a great tool that I use if you don't use it. It's called Opus Clip. Opus Clip will take a long video, let's say it's 60 minutes or even a 10-minute video, and it'll chop it up into 30-second clips, a minute clips that you or your team can upload to these social platforms like your Instagram, Reels, TikTok. Not only that, it'll actually give it a viral score and give you a possible headline plus a description. That's so again, a thing that would take you or your team in the office if you chose to do that would take you, who knows, 30 minutes, an hour is cut down into a minute or so. So it's really wild, a tool like that. But you guys can take a screenshot of that and look at that on the replay. Just wanted to give you some powerful tools to see. So what can we do with AI? Let me give you some real examples on top of some of those things. If you need to write a business plan for a new practice or a new venture, you're trying to get funds from a bank, this is kind of a hack to do that. And you can cite a lot of sources, have it scour other business plans for you. You can write computer code. Here's a great article just to give you some insight that I could write a 1,200 word blog post right now about preventing knee replacement surgery with SoftWave, a non-surgical treatment option. It will look throughout the internet and ultimately give me a great version of a blog post that you can also add your stories or your commentary within that post. I could research the most popular books on any given subject, and I did this as an example with a thyroid, like just thyroid, and you can apply this to any subject again. Holistic approach without drugs and surgery. Act as a functional medicine doctor. Write a table of contents for a new book. Sometimes the table of contents is the hardest part of any book, which I don't want to digress, but as a doctor, as somebody that specializes in this type of treatment, you would be very wise to have a book because that'll open up doors that would otherwise be closed to you. But what I did is I just gave it a sample prompt, and in seconds, this is literally what it brought back. Now, I didn't run this through a plagiarism checker, which you should always do that with anything AI. You don't want to duplicate content, get in trouble later on. But this is the table of contents that it gave me. I'm not going to go through all of this, but you can see how very in-depth it is. If I was going to create a book like this, Thyroid Healing, Empower Your Body Naturally, Understanding Thyroid Health, the role of nutrition, impact of lifestyle, environmental toxins, and the list goes on and on and on. And these really resonate with the mind body functional medicine approach or whatnot. So you can kind of see how powerful it might be. And then recommended resources and organizations. You can have it write a simple 1 minute video script about soft wave therapy and how it can help with frozen shoulder. If you ever you know, you get stuck on an idea. Or what are the top chiropractic websites on Google? What do they have in common regarding SEO? If you're trying to reverse engineer and see how you can rank a little higher on Google, you could do that. You could say, act as a world-class copywriter. What are the best Google AdWord headlines for chiropractic practice marketing? There we go. Practice marketing. And then this was the actual script that this is actually a separate I did one for headaches as well, and this was like a simple minute video script for headaches. But again, it takes the guesswork out of it, even tells you cut to a chiropractor adjusting, cut to the patient getting off the table and smiling, boom, 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 boom. You can use this as a guideline just to accelerate the idea process so you don't have that mental block or your team. Here's some Google headline examples. For instance, say goodbye to back pain with chiropractic, get natural relief from headaches with migraines with chiropractic care, get back your life. and the list goes on. Or top ranking factors, I did the same thing. Like I asked a question just a couple minutes ago, and it gave me literally relevant keywords, quality content, mobile friendly design, fast loading speed, all these different aspects. So you want to use ChatGPT almost like an executive assistant and or consultant sometimes. That's kind of how you have to look at it and have conversations with this AI. And the more, again, the more you feed it about your practice, your business, awards, accolades, where you've been featured in the media, that shapes a story, and they collect all this data and determine if you're an authority that you should be ranked high. So again, on and on and on, just about this one prompt. Here was a bonus. I did this for a client a while back because it seems like prices are going up across the board, and he was kind of confused, like, well, how can I raise my prices in an elegant fashion? And I basically put into ChatGPT, write me a kind, compassionate, and logical letter to patients, letting them know we have to increase our service and treatment fees. And here's what it brought back. I mean, and it was a really good letter. We hope this good health letter finds you in good health and spirits. At our practice, we're committed to giving you the best care possible. And then it just goes on to relay those points why we would need to increase the fees and talking about the price of things going up. And I just thought it was a very elegant way to do this. So that's another option for you. Here are 11 more tasks you can have it complete if you want to. Writing copy, whether that's sales copy, could be for product sales pages, it could be ad copy for Facebook ads or anything else. But what I would do is if you write copy, I would instruct it to act as a world-class copywriter. And you can fill in if you know some world-class copywriters, but the fact that you're telling it to act as a world-class copywriter, write me a sales page on Softwave chiropractic and give testimonials, make a strong call to action, give me a solid hook and a story, and then you can fill in some pieces there. You can be very specific with what you want.
Matt, do you
Yeah.
recommend that we go back and obviously check it, proofread it, because it can come out a little canned sometime, correct?
Yes. I would always check and proofread, and depending on what you are using it for instance, when ChatGPT, when you start to do, let's say, Facebook ads or any blog, it sometimes it writes in a style that doesn't look as natural. It throws emojis in there, throws a lot of hyphens, and that's clearly written by AI. So I like to remove all that stuff and then restructure some sentences periodically. But again, the quality of the prompt really determines, and you can also tell it what to leave out. Once it gets a hold of how you like in your writing style and what you want, it'll hammer it out exactly like you want.
It's so funny because we've had some doctors who'll actually write stuff in Softwave University in the
Hmm.
comments, and somebody was like, "That's totally AI," and the guy was like, "Yep, I was right." Sam Camerata, Sam. So,
D-
but this is
what
one of your guys, right?
what's that?
The answer. This is one of your guys, right?
Well, so this is a great tool that you can also use. I used to use this tool a lot more than what I do now, but it's still very valuable because it gives you questions, prepositions, and phrases that people actually ask Google, which are great content ideas for you as the doctor, video and or blog. So it would be very smart to have your own question list that you can hammer out because answering questions is a big deal when it comes to ranking on these AI engines and even ranking in Google's AI answers. So you got to have your own list of FAQs that people are asking about the condition specifically that you're taking care of, but also the treatment approach. That's critical. To your point, I was actually just going to mention, not to digress. There have been times where in because we have separate real estate portfolio and we have a short-term rental in that portfolio. My wife, she's very strategic with how she responds to some of these inquiries, and she's used that to craft the responses in an elegant way, legally compliant. Like I mean, it's so you can use it again. There's a lot of ways you can use ChatGPT, but so yeah, this is a great tool and a website. It shows you all the questions, answers, and prepositions. So use that in conjunction with the AI in particular. You can use it for searching because it's a great search engine. And a lot of times people now are going and they're searching best chiropractors in Atlanta, Georgia, or best pizza places in, Soho or what have you. And it pulls back information and it pulls back a different way than what Google does. This is why, like, some docs have the misconception, well, I'll just do Google SEO or I'll let my website company take care of this and I'll automatically rank high in like Chat GPT search or some of these others. that's not the case. Sometimes there's overlap, yes, but probably 70% of the time that I've seen, it's not exactly the same. So you kind of have to know all the different factors. But searching is powerful regardless of what you're searching. You can get very drilled down data in there, and I'll show it a little bit later on. But Forbes just came out with a study, I think it was 3 or 4 weeks ago, where they talked about ChatGPT search or LLMs in general. The conversion is 9 times higher than Google because people are getting 5, 9 questions deep. They're not just choosing best chiropractors in Atlanta. They're asking a question, they're talking to the AI, and they're asking another question, and bam, 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 bam. And I mean, it's kind of wild when you think about it because Google is high intent traffic. So just an FYI, you can use it to do research. For instance, I mean, and I think I give an example here. Yeah, exactly. If let's say you wanted to find research about sitting is the new smoking, right? This was in the news many years ago. You could find a bunch of research articles. Now, when it comes to research, there are different AI engines that are better than ChatGPT. You're always going to, whatever it pulls back, you should go to the journal article. You should make sure that it's referencing the correct one always. That kind of goes without saying. But this will also shortcut a lot of your process. So I did that. And then on top of all of these references that it gave me, I gave a follow-up prompt. I said, hey, now act as a chiropractor or physical therapist and give me several different exercises that counteract the effects of sitting at the computer all day. And boom, it went to town. He can provide all these exercises. Now, these could be videos that I could create. They could be blog posts. I mean, and these are great ones. But I said act as a chiropractor or physical therapist. So it naturally brings back things that are aligned with what we do, wrist finger stretches and all these different things. And I gave another follow-up prompt. I said, okay, perfect. Now give me a 1 minute video script outline to demonstrate the seated hip stretch and the benefits to the viewer. And this is exactly what it did. Very cool script. Introduce yourself as the chiropractor, briefly mention the negative effects, 15-minute intro, boom, 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 boom. So, I mean, taking the guesswork out of what would take you a very long time in the future or in the past. That's another one. You can use it obviously to inspire if you have more inspirational content, and or just to get inspired about new ideas. Personalize for hiring. I mean, you can run resumes through this thing and it'll dissect stuff like that. Creating images connected with DALL-E 2, like the new Chat GPT, I think it's 5.0. You have different call them plugins or what have you. DALL-E 2 is one of those where image generation, or you can even sync. One of the plugins is with Canva. So if you use Canva a lot for your image graphics, I mean, you can kind of use it in conjunction. We talked about role playing a little bit, where I said act as a chiropractor and give me this, or act as a world-class copywriter like Dan Kennedy, Gary Halbert, write this in this way and whatnot. So the more specific you can be, the better info you're going to get. Sometimes I'll get an email that's literally a book from somebody that could have asked this in 1 or 2 sentences, and I'll say, Chat GPT, summarize this freaking email, and it'll distill the right point, and I can get to it much faster as opposed to taking 10 minutes to read this thing. So summarizing is a big deal too. Analyzing data, we talked about that. Synthesizing different information, and even advising. Now, what I will say here is that AI has come a long way, but it's not making everyone millionaires overnight. So you still got to be in certain communities where people that have a lot of experience with whatever thing that you're trying to do, because real world experience still trumps a lot of this online learning. But you can get so many great ideas, and if you combine that with skills and expertise, you shortcut a lot of the learning process and the testing process, in fact. I mean, so I mean, I guess I could field a couple questions regarding that stuff right now, but any questions, clarification points, or even examples of how you're using Chat GPT? I mean, you can just throw them in the chat. I'm really curious. It'd be nice to kind of see how you guys are using it, if you're maximizing for efficiency and profitability. Let me see
Yeah,
real
I think
quick here.
this is the part I'm most excited about, because I want to see how I can see it already. I've
Hmm.
had other doctors showing me how they're ranking from doing blogs and
Hmm.
following you and some of the
Hmm.
things. I mean, I put a little note in here, always be learning. And, I love when we have great guests on who can help us elevate our game to the next level. The series is really how to finish 2025 strong, the last 2 months of the year, and really have great momentum going into 2026. This is all, I mean, we need this. We all need to be versed in this. I think back to when Matt Lauer and Katie Couric were on the couch in 1990 on Today's Show and said, Maybe I'll send you an email one day." You know what I mean? They were laughing about it. But you're giving us a vision to what's happening. So go on. This is
Yeah.
very inspiring.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the game has changed a lot for sure. And it is kind of wild that in the social media sphere, things always change. There's a lot of foundational principles, but it happens real quick. With I mean, it sounds cliche, but things happen very fast. And I can't even promise that in 6 months, this will be the thing, right? Because who knows what's going to happen. But now, I don't feel that Google is going anywhere, but the speed at which ChatGPT has hit a tipping point in critical mass is wild. And I'm going to share with you some statistics that'll probably blow your mind anyway with this, but all across the board, and I've heard from docs and clients, they're like, man, my Google traffic is down over the last what year, which kind of makes sense because the AI overviews, and I called this might have been 2 or 3 years ago at the social media revenue summit. I think you might have been there, Matt. And I said AI summaries are hitting now more national. So if you type in broad general topics, we're getting that. But I'm like 90% sure it's going to hit the local market. And when it does, we're going to start to see a dramatic shift in traffic. And that's actually what's happened. And by some estimates, depending on who you reference, organic Google clicks are down between like 15 and 40%. If you remember, man, like what, 5 years ago, you used to have Google AdWords, the paid ads at the top. You had the Maps listings, and then you had the organic listings. And long before that, you just had the Google AdWords and you had the organic listings. Now you've got the local service ads, Google AdWords, Google Maps, Google Business, and then you've got the AI summaries. And depending on where you search, sometimes the AI summaries actually come very first. I've seen it both ways. I think they're still experimenting on Google's end, but now the regular organic, the stuff that you've been doing SEO for a long time, I mean, you're kind of not even in the game, even if you're ranked number one. There's still value in doing that by all means. However, it's just been a massive disruption in terms of traffic. And if you look at your analytics, you might be surprised over the last couple of years to see the organic Google drop. And this is what this kind of alludes to. Google search clicks are evaporating. And there's been a shift that's taken place. This was the Pew Research study you were mentioning that Google users are less likely to click on links when an AI summary appears. It's just we want the information yesterday. People don't even want to wait a couple seconds anymore. It's interesting how consumer behavior has shifted. And according to Digiday, they talked about Google AI overviews linked to 25% drop in referral traffic, and I've seen more than that. And to give you a decent analogy, picture a coffee shop that was on a super busy street, and every morning you'd have a couple hundred people that would just walk in because they saw the sign, the coffee shop, boom, right before their job, their work, or their practice. And then let's say I come along, 3 weeks ago, or X robot, whatever, and installs an espresso machine right on the public sidewalk, right outside of your practice. It's on the public ground. And now instead of like what used to be Google, people again, 300 every morning going to Google, looking at the links, boom, they click yours because you're first. That's not happening. They're going straight to the espresso machine. They're bypassing you. That's what the AI summaries, that's what ChatGPT is doing to a lot of practices. And unfortunately, it's having bad effects. ChatGPT right now is the fourth most visited website on the planet. Just to give you an idea, so this isn't what Matt Loop says. It's growing very, very quick because of the ease at which it gives the information to people, quite honestly. And I think it's going to actually eventually grow like much more. 34% of US adults have used ChatGPT, double that of 2023. And what was really interesting, and I still, it makes a lot of sense, but Google won an antitrust suit not too long ago because the judge had basically said that these LLMs are cutting into Google's market share, and you no longer have the search monopoly. So again, a federal judge actually ruled this. So again, not what Loop says. AI challenges the dominance of Google. I mean, I could show you studies till the cows come home. And this is the one that I was talking about in Forbes, where they're talking about LLM conversion, like ChatGPT is 9 times better. Whether it's 9 times better, I don't know, but it does convert better overall. And I get like texts very frequently from clients and said, "Hey, now I got my first person that found me on ChatGPT." I had one of my clients a couple months ago had 8 new patients from ChatGPT alone. That's pretty impressive. Another one from Dr. Tucker in Texas there had a search says yesterday. So this is applicable to any practice or business. I don't care how you practice. You need to start thinking about ways that we can get it on. Now, Google versus ChatGPT, I wanted to show this chart just for the simple fact that if ChatGPT continues at this, they said it hit 1 billion daily searches 9 years faster than Google, and is on pace to outpace it by 2030. I think it's going to be sooner than that if the trends remain the same. But again, just to give you an idea of how fast this thing is happening. Going back to what I said before, you need the $20 subscription of ChatGPT. You got to feed it information. Talk to it like you're talking to a friend, colleague. Let it know who you are, what you do, your practice, any awards, accolades. And by the way, if there have been things that like press, awards, accolades, celebrity attachment, best-selling author of the book, you've been featured in the news or the media or radio. If that stuff hasn't been readily featured on online, or let's say you've taken a screenshot of something and you post it on Instagram or you posted it on Facebook, uh, you can't assume ChatGPT is going to grab all that stuff. And this is a prime example. I said, when was it? 2 weeks ago, I went to ChatGPT and I was talking about myself. I said, ChatGPT, look through the internet, Google, Facebook, and how many success stories and testimonials do you find from doctors and business owners that have used my stuff? And it said, over the last many years, we found 29 testimonials or something like that. And I was like, 29? And so then I had to go through Google, Pinterest pin boards, screenshots, testimonials, like consulting, coaching pages, like all these things to really feed it the data. And so I fed it all these things, and then it finally came back with like, I don't know, 200 and something, which was still low, but you can see that it missed a lot of those reviews. And some of them were just basically screenshots that I took from a text on Instagram. So we can't assume again that it indexes the content. I tell you this because success stories, reviews, testimonials, they're very important, not just on Google, because Google is not nearly the only weighted ranking factor that it uses, but in terms of authority building, Bing, Facebook, Yelp, like all these review engines play a big factor. So when you start doing your own ChatGPT searches, you're going to find some interesting data. So you got to make sure that your social proof is indexed, and if it's not, you got to tell it where to look, and or you need to start transcribing some of these other feedback success stories and make sure that you've got it listed in a very easy format to read on your sites and platforms because it is an authority trigger. So just an FYI. Yeah, and so you can kind of do this on your end if you want to, but just whatever city that you're in. Now, I'm going to give you one keyword, let's say best chiropractors in your city. However, that's just one keyword of dozens that you should be found for. So even if you do rank well for one keyword, you don't assume that you rank well on ChatGPT for another. You should say, if you're talking about uh, alternatives to knee replacement in Atlanta, Georgia, or knee pain treatment Atlanta, Georgia, if that's a term you want to rank for, well, you need to kind of see where the thing lies out, and we can kind of format a blueprint and a map to really start ranking using these LLMs on that. Now, what's also fascinating is if you look at Chat GPT in particular, they have a very strong relationship with Bing as well as Microsoft. So when you're pulling back and you're on, let's say, Chat GPT, sometimes you're going to find a bunch of Maps listings, but you'll find Facebook reviews or Yelp reviews, and you won't find Google reviews. So we have to make sure things are tidied up over on those other channels that we've neglected for so long because this model looks at that with high regard. I consider this like the holy grail of marketing and outreach right now because so very few are actually using this. And with the early adoption, I mean, if you understand how to hack the algorithm, you can position yourself for a very long time. Imagine if, my gosh, like Google in 1998, 99, if you knew this much about SEO, you could have potentially reaped benefits for years and years to come, millions of dollars, thousands of patients helped. So we're at a point in time. Again, I don't believe ChatGPT is going anywhere, and it leads the pack by a far, far amount. Last time I checked, the market cap, what was it, 4 trillion? It's ridiculous what the market cap is for Nvidia and its companies. I bring this chart up to kind of show you specifically, you got to be on the early adopter. Chiropractors usually fall in the late majority, a lot of them, and that's unfortunate for the profession as a whole. But if we can get started right now on this, you'll see the fruits of your labor and benefits for years and years to come. So you don't want to sit on any of this right now. Another thing that I'll tell you in terms of the ranking factor specifically is many of you on your chiropractic websites, you haven't really cited and sourced them accordingly. And if you're talking about authority, ChatGPT looks and see where you've linked out to. I mean, getting links, just like on Google, getting links to your site from authority-based properties is really important, but also citing out. So if you've got this meaty website, even if you have a ton of reviews and you haven't cited out to, let's say you're talking about uh, stem cell regeneration and how SoftWave helps, do whatever it does, if there are legit studies in the medical journals about this, you need to link to them, and it has to be a link from your website because the more you do that through your blog post and your pages, your website, therefore, you are looked at as a higher authority. And so that's one element. And the second thing is you need to increase your status in the eyes of ChatGPT through using a lot of different things, uh, borrowing the credibility, linking to institutions, like I said, press media, celebrity attachment, a whole host of things that are going to make a big impact there. I can show you just testimonial after testimonial from clients over the years that have done great things, not just with social media, but AI, dozens of new patients a month, millions of dollars in revenue generated, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And I could be here for a very long time. And I say this because I'm not trying to blow smoke. I believe, based on experience, that ChatGPT is really where it's at in terms of reaping the benefit, the search traffic in particular. And the first step is really to figure out where you are. There are programs out there. It's debatable how accurate they are right now, but your typical programs like your SEM Rush it's a strong competitive intelligence tool. It can give you some markers SEO wise, uh, with the answer engine optimization wise to kind of clue you in. Is this right or wrong? But you can't solely rely on it. And you can't, unfortunately, delegate this whole thing out to external agencies like you would your regular SEO because some things actually have to be done on your end. Whether that changes in the future, I don't know, but right now it is. So, I mean, you got two options really when it comes to this stuff. And by the way, you guys finding this interesting? If you are, just throw a yes in the chat and whatnot.
Absolutely. And I think the majority of the doctors on this tonight, we probably 85% of our ad spend is done through uh, Facebook, Instagram, some Google, right? Um, how do you think there will be an advertising link to this at some point? Do you think there'll be an AdWords that they'll do? What's your
Yeah,
prediction? Because I mean, I
yeah,
don't mean to put you on the spot, but
yeah, yeah. I talked about this. I've been talking about this a lot in our mastermind lately. The speculation, and this comes from at the very top in ChatGPT and the execs, they're rolling out ads, and when they do, you better be first to market because and the speculation potentially is January, February of next year. They want to get it going early because they want to make money for shareholders. Now, whether that happens that early, I mean, if it does, will it be the same as Google AdWords? I don't think it will be the exact same. It's going to be more contextual and it'll be interesting how they're going to weave it into the answers, but it's going to be the wild, wild west likely. So I can tell you, I wasn't at Google AdWords when Google AdWords launched in whenever it was 2012, 10, or whenever, but I was
2011. Yeah.
yeah, but I was at Facebook ads. I don't know if I had one of the first accounts or whatever, but 2010-ish, and I can tell you that the clicks were like 10 cents a click. I don't think it's going to be that low with ChatGPT, but it's not going to be competitive, which is the big thing. You have access to a more affluent audience. because people that use this type of program, the statistics are very interesting with that. And the conversion rate, like I was talking about before, is much higher. So you absolutely want to start thinking right now about how you're going to utilize that when it comes for sure. So the speculation is January, February. We'll have to see what happens. So I'm not exactly convinced, but in 2026, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen.
We'll have you back on at first of the year, Dr. Matthew. You heard it first here with Dr. Matt Luke. You watch it, mark your calendars. Okay, so let me see. Yeah, Dr. Camerado says AI is wild. Thank you, Sam, for your input. Very good. Yes, extremely informative. Thank you, Craig. Jimmy Ma, my buddy. Fantastic. They love it. Okay, so
Amen.
um, you've got a little bit more? Yes?
Yeah, so I've got again, depending on what type of doctor you are, like I have a kind of a hand-holding program where I did a webinar and a whole training about this stuff, and I wanted to, actually talk about giving you access to this. You could figure a lot of this out yourself, and I talked about some of the main points this evening that you can really hit the ground running with getting ranked locally for not just one, but dozens of keywords in the market. You could figure it out yourself, but I mean, it's going to take you a lot longer just to put together all the pieces and whatnot. Or you can get access to my proven ChatGPT rankings blueprint based on the clients that I've consulting. I dissect all the common denominators. So, do you want to rank number one on ChatGPT local before your competitors do? You want to have first mover advantage, and you want to learn how to get the AI algorithms to favor you as opposed to competing docs down the street. If I could show you a simple way to bring this in many more new patients from the world's hottest AI platform without spending any money on ads, would you want to implement it? I think all the hands would go up there, right? And this only takes about 20 minutes a day, by the way, so you could have your team member on this, but you should devote daily time. So maybe you're using ChatGPT right now, but you're not using it in the most strategic way. We need to do regular daily input into this thing specifically, but it doesn't have to be done by you as the doctor. You'll have your own house account. Most docs have 20 minutes a day anyway. They're just messing around on the computer, so we'll just turn that into productive time to market your office. So you're invited to join me on this webinar, how to rank at the top of ChatGPT. It's a 90-minute webinar and training. So what you get, I'm sorry, no, it's an hour and 40-minute webinar training that I did. You get the full transcript on that. You get a checklist and cheat sheet. We're also going to get on the phone with a one-on-one call so I can actually tailor this specifically to your practice. I realize you might be different than the doc down the street. And so I want to make sure that you are going to get all you need out of this. And I'll give you a 6-month money back guarantee on this program because I've worked with enough docs to know that this works really well. Some it happens really quick. And this actually brings up a good thing that I posted the other day. If anyone says that, hey, I can get you ranked in Chat GPT in the next 24 hours or the next week, I'd probably walk away from that. I've seen things happen quick, really quick, because the markets in some areas are not nearly as competitive, but I would never promise or guarantee that soon. So just a little bit of a red flag, but I'm willing to put my money in the mouth, where my mouth is, and I'll give you zip code exclusivity as well on top of all this anyway. But I want to get on the phone with you to implement this. It's kind of hard to put a price tag on what this is really worth. It's like Google back in the day. People are already getting a lot of patients from this. I could easily charge 2 grand for it, but I'm not going to do that. What the training is going to do for you is it'll give you an unfair competitive advantage with ChatGPT. It'll get you more website traffic that you might have lost from Google recently and more new patients through your doors and really actually make you Google proof. Your marketing should be set up like the Parthenon. In case one pillar goes down, you've got the rest that support the structure. Social media is extremely powerful, the organic and the ads. Google, you still want to use, but again, things have shifted. In ChatGPT, you got to harness that. One new patient pays for this whole thing, and it's a whole whopping $497 for all this stuff together, and I'll hook you up. So if you kind of want to take your practice to the next level with ChatGPT, just visit profit365.org/search and you can register. So profit365.org/search. And we'll get you in. We'll schedule a call. Make sure you got the fast track implementation. And if you want, you can have your team on as well, whoever's going to help implement it for you. But again, we're at a very interesting time in the world. And so the earlier you're able to capitalize on this, you're going to be set. And so, yeah, that's the talk presentation. Any questions, let me know. You guys know where to find me on the socials. Otherwise, got any questions in the chat or?
Yes, well, first off, from Softwave University, happy 17th anniversary to you and your lovely wife.
Thanks,
But
brother.
yeah,
Appreciate
we
it.
have a question from Dr. Brian from Lebanon, New Hampshire.
Mhm.
He said, if you run multiple businesses, can you have one paid account to feed the AI for all of them?
You can. There's not enough, or at least I haven't seen enough data or split testing to say, well, you should have one per each account. Yeah, so one account should be fine for that. The reason why I say though is all of these engines, if you look throughout time, like historically Google or social media platforms, they always say, we don't track you, we don't do anything with your information. And then 5, 10 years later, there's a massive lawsuit. Judge comes out and says, oh, by the way, you were tracking us through this whole time. You were using our data for blah, 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 blah. ChatGPT says the same thing, but because I'm in the trenches and because I've seen things happen, they're tracking everything with you. Now you can use that to your advantage with the company. Um, if I again letting it know you're the founder, this is my business, boom, 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 tying it in. I don't that's an interesting question. I don't think I have the whole answer to that. My speculation is that it doesn't really matter, but if you really wanted to err on the side of precaution and totally have a clean slate with just a totally separate business, you might get a separate subscription. Again, I can't prove that though, that would make a difference. Take it for what it's worth.
One of the things I love about what you've built, Matthew, and you haven't been a chiropractor for at least 10 years, correct?
Well, I
Or
mean,
practicing chiropractic.
I still work with my family and
Yeah, yeah.
do the community
Um,
service there, but yeah.
so yeah, I mean, I want to figure out like how more of us can work together. And there's power and strength. We have over 3,000 doctors and technicians in Softwave University now. Um, and you've been every year you've come and spoke to our groups or our events online. So if you would, why don't you go back to that other page or type your 360 search in the message here, and then we'll see if we have any
Yeah,
other questions.
there.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You got it.
I know already, Matthew, Dr. Sam Camerato has been using a lot of really great stuff, and also ranking very high
Hmm.
in his area, Rochester and Greater Rochester. Um, and Sam, I might ask you to just ask to unmute and tell me what, how you've been using this as well.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I'm in my infrared sauna at home.
That's fine. You're working on your body and
Uh,
brain today.
I'll put the video on. Can you see me now?
Yes, sir.
Got the lights on.
Nice,
How
nice.
have you been utilizing this in your own little private practice for Camerata chiropractic?
Yeah, I love AI. I put AI as wild because I keep learning every day. Um, Justin, that he's my digital media guy that we met about 8, 9 years ago, and he was using it. And I said, "Teach me. I want to learn all about it. I know I'm the provider. I'm the doc. I go, but I have, like you said, Matt. You're like, you got 20 minutes to spare, and people are just wasting time. Like, let me jump on ChatGPT and just learn all about it. So I did kind of what you were saying. I'm like the long road, like kind of typing in like, how do I leverage this?
Hmm.
How can I rank higher in my area? So I'm kind of feeding it those questions first. And then now, I've been using it for so long. It knows me. It knows me. It knows my practice. It's picking up websites. It's picking up testimonials. So we use it for a lot. I mean, I'm doing Facebook posts, Instagram posts, LinkedIn posts. So we're doing a lot of cross posting. Let's put it that way. So I'll do like, hey, write me a Facebook post on this, and then I'll go shorten it up for Instagram, and I go make it more professional for LinkedIn, and it's the same exact post with the graphics, but the wording is different depending on which platform I'm using. So just a lot of different things.
That's so
You
cool.
bring up a good point. You actually bring up a really good point about because you've been doing this for a while, at least online marketing and whatnot. Digital footprint really matters when it comes to Chat GPT. And now, if you've been publishing content on Google on social media for since 2005, like longevity matters there. So I would encourage you, if you've kind of not been like, if you've been haphazardly going along with the blog posting and the social media, you really need to amp that up, because the more AI learns about you, this is kind of where it's easy to feed the authority section of the algorithm, to where it says, oh, X person is authority, and we can validate that they've spoken here, they've been in the press, or they got these reviews on this. Like all this paints a picture, and other factors, but it's a big deal to have a large digital footprint, so I can't even stress that enough. I'm glad, like, you kind of alluded to that.
Yeah.
Great. Big question. I mean, if content is so important, how does video compare and work into this now? Do you have to have transcription? Do you have to have
It's
blogs, vlogs? What do you think?
it's smart. Like, let's say you write a blog post, it's always smart to have the video on the blog post embedded there, and then maybe to have the transcription underneath. If you're talking about Google in particular, AI is kind of similar. Blog posts that are very comprehensive, that could be a couple thousand words, that actually have a combination of the video, the infographics, and heavy text, those tend to rank higher on the search engines. Only exception might be marquee or a legacy website like a Mayo Clinic or something, that they could have literally 5 words on a page that deals with SoftWave if they wanted to, and they would rank number one because they're Mayo Clinic and they've got all authority links and whatever it is. But for most, it's you should have a heavy text in the actual post too. So get in the habit of having your team just transcribe the videos, and or either put the transcriptions below it, or just write out the actual post below it.
All right, one last question, and then we're going to let you get back to your family. All right, and this is great. This is from Jacob Isold. Congratulations, Jacob. By the way, he is our operations manager at ATL Pain Institute, and just has been working with SoftWave and now going to be full time. So congratulations. But his question is, should one start a new website that is tailored to ChatGPT if the old one is outdated or slow? Does this hurt the rankings if your website is brand new? Great
Uh,
question.
well, that's a great question, actually. Any new website doesn't have a history, so you need to build a history with that website. But there is some techie, geeky component, and I'm not going to get too crazy, but any developer or webmaster is going to know the AI algorithm, like even Google AI and ChatGPT, they like to see what's called schema markup on a website. One of those schema markup is the FAQ, and there's another one that it just slips my head right now for some reason. I can't think about it. But there are certain markups that the AI like to see that will document answers a lot easier, and it just helps the algorithm. So it's good that your website is new, so you can get all that stuff installed immediately and you can hit the ground running. But because it is so new, you have to flood it now with actual real content, and start to now strategically link build and do many things, and build your own personal authority, so that gets more authority on the AI engines and ranks high.
As always, a great presentation. I hope to have you back at one of our live events. We'll do some more wine tasting. And for any of
Nice.
our providers out there who are looking to elevate, I mean, this is what a great opportunity to learn more about AI, especially old guys out there like Jimmy Marr and Dr. Craig. This is AI for dummies for sure. But you also can scan this QR code if you'd like to get on a coaching call with me or just check how you're doing with your conversions. Next week, super excited. I'm going to be having Dr. Kale Matovich, who's out of Calgary. He is a coach for the Remarkable Practice. He's also had a SoftWave device for a year and a half. It took me a year and a half for him to finally sign up. He's done over $40,000 a month for the last 18 months. So you don't want to miss what he's going to have. Thank you all for taking time away from your families and to be with us. Always be learning. Thanks again, Doc.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah.